Okay, I just want to thank everyone for joining us today. My name is Carla Edwards, and I'm a Registry Solutions Advisor and the EVP of Oncology Programs here at Registry Partners. We're thrilled to have you, and we're looking for this insightful session on exploring AI solutions to enhance registry performance. We all know as healthcare continues to evolve, artificial intelligence is becoming a powerful tool for streamlining data collection, improving abstraction accuracy, and supporting more efficient workflows. But these advancements not only enhance registry performance, but also cancer care decision making and ultimately the outcomes. So today we're going to hear from several vendors. We have OncoLens, Oncora Medical, Inspirata, Azra AI, and mTuitive. Each are offering a unique perspective on how AI support and improve registry operations. So each presenter is going to have a 15-minute spotlight session, giving you a focused look at their tools and technologies. Towards the end of the presentation, I will join them back on camera and we'll have a quick Q&A session. So we encourage you to ask questions and consider how these solutions might work for you in your everyday workflow. I'm going to ask each of the speakers to do a short introduction for themselves, and that way I don't take any more of your time as we want to move through this and give everyone a chance to present their solution. So our first one up first is going to be OncoLens. So I am going to switch the presenter over to them at this time.
Thank you all so much for joining. Thank you for Registry Partners for inviting us as OncoLens. We truly appreciate the opportunity and know how busy everyone is in their day-to-day. So again, thank you all, and really look forward to jumping in and telling you more about OncoLens. My name is Chase Herndon. I'm the head of business development for OncoLens, and look forward to kind of diving in and really highlighting what we can help the different registry folks across the board. So looking at OncoLens, we are a comprehensive platform. We pull together various workflows, various analytic needs for multiple members of the cancer service team, whether it's clinical, whether it's admin, really helping use you all's data correctly for your purposes. So if you look from left to right, when you think of us as really that data hub where we help you all make sense of your data. We pull together the different EMRs, we pull together various labs and various radiology information and all of the structured but also unstructured elements associated with those different data sets, then deriving the correct insights at the right time. So staging, different treatments, biomarker information, whether they're in structured elements or they're in unstructured elements, we can pull that together and help you all really, really leverage our solution for different aspects. On the right-hand side, we're going to focus on registry and accreditation support today, but we do have a comprehensive solution I'll move through in a few slides. Really think it's important that you all understand that we understand your pain points. At OncoLens, we've been in business for over 7 years. We work with over 220 cancer centers domestically and more internationally, but understand, starting at the top, with the abundant pressure to stay concurrent with abstracting. We understand that it's very time consuming for you all to identify if a patient's analytic versus non-analytic. And then there's so much data now that's hidden in notes, in scanned documents, and those different PDFs. So really helping you all leverage AI for those types of purposes. Now, I do understand that some of the registrars out there are also helping with tumor boards and accreditation needs. So there's a lot of manual double work associated with those aspects that we can absolutely help automate and streamline, creating abundant amounts of efficiencies. And then last but not least is we constantly hear that all types of asks for data demands from the service line for various reports or various information sets. So really able to pull those in a customized manner for you all. How do we help you all? Leveraging AI. Starting on the left, it's really simplifying case finding and abstracting pulling that unstructured data. That's where a lot of the really rich EMR data is. So we can pull that in real time and create these different dashboards and custom reports, but also the end-to-end tumor board management, really helping you all with case prep and pulling the information into a presentation mode, saving over 90% of all that information, then helping create these different reports in an automated fashion, COC, NAPBC, NAPRC, really helping reduce that. And again, an over 90% reduction in time to help you all. So reports, various needs, we'll get into that, but across the board here, how do we bring that hidden data to the forefront for you? How do we help? We call it the EMR registry reporting. And how we help is the first step is really extracting that data in an automated fashion, building these cohort reports for you to simplify case finding, and then abstracting. So we surface the relevant details to identify whether a patient is analytic or not. And then we really streamline that reporting, quality assurance by pushing from that directly into your registry platform, as we're EMR and registry software platform agnostic, that would then move to a suspense case. And as you can see on the right, we have several examples of data that's extracted from the EMR. And we've worked with many of our different customers to really fine tune this, but we can, if there's things that are not on here, we can absolutely add those. So really being able to customize this for each and every single customer we work with. How do we extract those data and insights? Well, first we start by pulling the structured data from the EMR and our various lab integrations, and then we move to that unstructured data seamlessly with the various unstructured elements I spoke about earlier. Those can be progress notes, those can be various texts, they can be scanned documents, they're PDFs. So really pulling all the data seamlessly in a white glove service to then provide it to you with also the ability to filter and assess the different cohorts by different aspects such as disease stage, more of the moving parts in between. And this is an example I like to talk about is pulling out those data elements that are a lot of the times as notes or again, scanned documents such as Gleason score, pathology information, the grade, and showing you where it came from in the EMR with timestamps. What does this mean for you? This means us helping you all highly reduce the amount of time spent in case finding, which we see is around a 70%, and then really helping reduce in abstracting, which is 40 to 70%, depending on what you all kind of are trying to do and how you're doing it. But what we've seen from several case studies is the average time without OncoLens is about 10 minutes, and we then move that to 2 to 3 minutes for case finding, and then abstracting, drastically reducing that from on average 75 to 90 minutes before the OncoLens solution to 30 to 45 minutes per case. Really, really helping reduce the mundane, helping you all focus on the coding aspects. Now, OncoLens Conference is our tumor board solution that we've been really focused on and continue to improve this as best of breed solution out there. And this is where we can really drive different aspects, as I spoke to earlier, when it comes to automating and streamlining all of the information from the EMR directly into a patient case that can then be discussed at conference, reducing all the time that's spent creating agendas, creating attendance and tracking attendance, and then moving it into a reporting capability for COC, NAPBC, NAPRC in an automated fashion, and also bringing everyone together, both admin and clinical, to really help treat the patients the best as possible for the highest outcome. Our analytics are really strong and continue to get stronger, as what we're constantly being told through our customers is they view that the solution's elevating their performance and their ability to source this information in real time. And some of the examples are providing very robust patient journey assessment for when the patient walks in, how do they come into the system, to the different care gaps, really helping identify leakage, bottlenecks, and even potential revenue. We then have a cohort insights and feasibility to really help our systems understand their patient base better, being able to slice through that and find the different elements that are important across the system. And then with our facility insights, narrowing it down per facility with that real-time visibility to really help make better clinical and operation decisions with these living, breathing dashboards that are refreshed every night. Again, really helping you all make better informed decisions to improve outcomes. And 2 quick case studies that we found to be very interesting with different systems we're working with is also being able to customize this for the different needs out there. These 2 were 2 unique needs brought to us. The case study 1 was the registry team was trying to identify colorectal cancer patients in real time that needed germline testing. The first problem was that they were not up to date, so they were not current, and the information was so hard to find. We identified 14 patients that they would have missed that were not captured in the registry data. And also, we then bubbled them up for a specific QI that provided real-time reporting that they could see and really help drive their QI internally. Case study 2 was the system wanted to provide insights from a referral timeline of breast cancer patients to plastic surgery and also align with those standards under the NAPBC. And what we saw was the visibility to really find and consult delays that they previously had no understanding or no knowledge of that were unmonitored, providing those up-to-date real-time reports, and then also enable the targeted intervention to prevent those delays that were causing the bottlenecks and issues. So again, really customized based on whatever our customers are interested in, providing these types of reports and dashboards to help. And again, think of us as that comprehensive platform with the ability to deliver timely, precise cancer patient care, whether it's the analytics for registry, for patient journey, for quality outcomes, and then the workflow, really automating, reducing all the time for conference, both prep and the presentation along with those different reporting capabilities. We didn't really talk about patient ID, but that's our white glove service where we build out the full eligibility criteria to match highly eligible patients for clinical trials in real time or other types of treatments that are being offered. And then last but not least, research. We've got a wonderful research network that we bring really, really neat QIs to real world data insights and opportunities, and then clinical trials that we match to precise patient populations, helping drive accruals and growing their different research portfolio in a very thoughtful manner. So that is it. Tried to keep it brief, but would love to connect with anyone at all that's interested. Love to show you a demo and also really kind of dive into what your unique needs are and pain points to help you all. So again, thank you all so much. And any questions, Carla, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. That was an excellent presentation. Let's see. Courtney, go ahead.
Yeah, so Chase, we do have a question. For the real-time data analytics, is the data only as real-time as the cases that have been fully abstracted, or is a lot of it based off of the data points being imported via AI? If AI, have facilities noticed any major discrepancies or changes once the cases have been abstracted? So I guess basically asking if the data that you're using is based on like how concurrent the registry is.
Great question. So what we're doing is we're pulling directly from the EMR in near real time, and I'll explain that in a second. So all of that information that's coming over is going to be different data elements in the EMR that then every night refreshes. So it's refreshed every night. So the morning that the registrar comes in and opens a report, any changes are going to be there, but it is absolutely as close to real time as possible, and it's pulling various data elements that can then be sourced, and you can see exactly where it comes from in the EMR for that validation. Is as you get more comfortable, then AI is great, but also is completely evolving. And I think the last thing to highlight is we do a QA on our side before we provide any reports. Our customers have a dedicated customer success team, and we not only validate the information, but work with you to make sure that it's presented in the manner you want, since everything's highly customized.
Wonderful. Well, I think that's all we have time for, but we do, any other questions that come in for you, we'll be sure to have you answer and get to the audience as soon as we possibly can.
Thank you all so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, we will move on to our next spotlight, and it is on Oncora Medical. I am going to switch the presenter over to you, David, and I'll let you introduce yourself.
All right. Well, nice to meet everybody. My name is David Lindsay. I am the CEO and co-founder of Oncora Medical. By training, I am actually a physician scientist, so I have a lot of experience on the clinical side and the patient care side of oncology, and really have been an avid user of the cancer registry and cancer registry data for over 10 years. So I understand the value and the importance of high quality cancer registry data. Throughout my journey founding Oncora, again, which started about 10 years ago, I really got to know a number of oncology data specialists at some of the customer sites where we worked. And I became very interested and fascinated with the process of cancer registry, case finding, abstraction, analytics, and really view it as one of the kind of capstone, most critical pieces of precision oncology workflow. So I'm really thankful for the Registry Partners team and for the cancer registry community in general for welcoming me in and letting me learn about this really critical part of cancer care. So I wanted to briefly introduce our team. So I have a co-founder as well, Kevin Yee, who was on the call, who is an engineer and entrepreneur himself, had a background at Genentech and Microsoft, and is an expert, in AI. And so between the two of us, we've worked with a number of really excellent centers. Myself, as part of Oncora, a lot of them as users of our clinical platform, which helps to automate physician workflows and documentation, and Kevin as well with a number of great institutions. And really our vision is that the cancer registry becomes the critical data foundation for public health, patient care, and research at individual hospitals and across networks. And we think that the oncology data specialists who make these registries what they are today are the critical piece of this. So we wanted to build a modern cancer registry solution that serves as a true co-pilot for the oncology data specialist to bring all of the power of interoperability and AI without any of the threatening sort of scary stuff of sort of replacing the job or full automation. So we think that a co-pilot workflow is the way of the future, and therefore, have built our product to meet that need. So I wanted to briefly start with why this is now possible. I think we've all heard, probably for more than 5 years, about how NLP, natural language processing, and AI is going to change our workflows, and how these magical, interoperability engines, HL7, are going to make everything so much easier. And then we saw, all of the, the imported data, mostly being wrong, out of date, and sort of really struggling to actually see the impact of these types of tools. So our motto is that it's worse to be wrong than it is to be blank, right? And so all of our AI and our interoperability is built around this idea that if we're going to suggest something to a registrar for their review, that it needs to be right. And so all of our validation is based off of that. And the other piece of this is what we've seen is that it's oftentimes really hard for registry departments to get the support of IT teams in order to install all of these magical interfaces that are supposed to solve all of our problems. So about 5 years ago, 3 to 5 years ago, EHR started introducing a new way to connect that did not involve setting up HL7 messages, was truly real time, right? Didn't require overnight data processing, and it allowed you to get the documents that you need for each patient, not just the path report or one piece of a document. And so that's our way of integrating with health systems. It's through a method called a web service or FHIR integration. And we just completed an install with a major system last weekend. Just took over the weekend, we did it. And we can query for any patient, any document. So any PDF, any Care Everywhere or external document that's available, all of their labs, all of their medications, prescriptions. And then we connect that to a really powerful new technology, which you've, I'm sure, all heard of in some capacity. It's called a large language model. So we are really combining the ability to read any document with a large language model that's capable of knowing what document it should read next. So I'm going to give you guys a brief demo of the software just to show you how this works. But essentially, you can imagine that we find a path report that indicates cancer. Then the model can say, well, what other documents were created around that time? And we can find, the medical oncology consult note. We can find the radiology reports that took place in the preceding 3 months, and we can identify, suspicious malignancies at that time. And we can calculate every field in a NACER abstract based on all of these documents, one by one, with evidence and a rationale for how each of those was actually calculated, so that you as the registrar can click with a single click and open the source document that it came from, see the information highlighted. And if it's a complicated field, like a text field, we'll show you all of the different documents where that information was sourced from. Just to kind of point out too, that this works for not only the stage and the date of diagnosis and sort of case finding information, but all of the text fields, all the staging fields, all the site specific data elements, and can even be configured for any custom fields that you may track at your institution as well. So here's a totally sort of de-identified demo of our software. I'm going to expand this in just a second so you can see what it looks like. The names are all faked here, but essentially you as the case finder in this case are presented with a list of potential cases. These have been identified from path reports, from appointments, basically like a disease index table. And then within that, you can see the data that we've automatically extracted, which includes the primary site, the diagnosis date, the histology, and as well as a classification of whether this represents a reportable case or a non-reportable case, and you can sort and filter to easily find those. When you click into a case, you are presented with the actual document that we created the case from. In this case, again, a fake path report made to look very real that shows you the information for that patient along with the data that was extracted. So you're able to hover over, for example, the diagnosis date there and see that the specimen in this case was collected at this particular time. So it's smart enough to know, right, of course, that it's the collection date, not the date that the report was reported out or otherwise. Similarly, for the primary site, or identifying the lesion here and the histology, as well as the behavior code and laterality. And then you as the registrar can also understand the reportability of this, confirm its reportability, and then move forward sort of immediately into a case finding workflow. So that is a little bit of that workflow here. So y'all can still see my screen. And now I just wanted to move on to the case finding workflow of this as well. So once you've identified a case and you're going to complete abstraction, I can show you here a full cancer registry abstract is present, in this view here. So you can enter into a patient. We can expand this, you can get a little bit of a better view. And you can see that for each field, we're presenting a suggestion as well as an explanation of where that information is coming from. So for example here, with this METS diagnosis case, we've identified for this patient all their prior brain scans, the bone scans, nuclear medicine scans, and have thoroughly searched medical records, surgical procedures, and diagnosis codes to definitively point out that this patient does not have any bone metastases at the time of diagnosis. You can see that suggested value. That value can be applied. You can immediately incorporate that into the registry abstract. The other nice thing about this is that we actually show the whole AI's thought process as well, so that as it's reading different documents, as it's reading the PET scan, as it's reading the bone scan, it will identify those documents. You can click in to view that document and look at the AI's entire thought process, which is really totally unique as far as we've seen from others in the market. You have your thoughtful summary and review of that information available to you right there in this AI chat assistance panel. And that can be just applied. You can view the evidence for that patient, and it will show you everything that you need to see there. So just, sort of in summary, we think that this intelligent abstraction view is really, really powerful. It's going to, significantly cut down on the average amount of abstraction time required per case, while never compromising on quality, because all of these fields are able to be reviewed by oncology data specialist with a single click right in your natural workflow to be able to provide that confidence that everything is reviewed and verified by a human. So, sort of last slide here is the evidence. So we really, are founded on this idea that source evidence should be present for every single piece of extracted data, and that should be tracked and auditable for the future, so that we know for every single field, this is what AI suggested, this is what the ODS confirmed or rejected, and we can continually learn and refine our models based on this information. We have a QR code here where you can visit our website to learn a little bit more. And I just wanted to thank everybody, for the time, and I want to leave enough time for questions. So thank you very much.
Hi, David. We do have some questions. Sorry, Carla, you want to say anything? So I have a few questions, so we'll get through what we can in, your time slot. So one person asked, we see conflicting statements in the patient chart frequently. Example, one physician might say no smoking history, but another says 2 packs per day. How is this handled?
Yeah, it's a great question, and a really common, scenario that when we were doing early testing of this, we found it was a lot harder than we thought. So the way that we handle that is by, first of all, getting all of those instances of information. So we will read, from the smoking history perspective, right? You may identify something in the problem list as, a smoker. You may see notes in the social history and various, patient charts. So that the AI engine will synthesize that information. And for certain fields, it's configurable and configured by us at a field by field level, where certain cases it will come up with what it thinks is the best response based on that, if there's ambiguity, right? So if there's a 2-year smoking history, and there's also, a 4-year, smoking history, it'll take, it may take the most recent information, or information that was, in a consult note versus just in a progress note. But then there's other fields where, it really, if there's any ambiguity, like, it must be surfaced to the registrar. So, for example, on staging or on presence of a particular biomarker, that will be flagged as a non-confident prediction, and that will surface it for review. So simple answer is AI can handle that situation, but we put some guardrails to make sure that when we're not confident, that it's brought to the ODS's immediate attention.
Perfect. Another question, what if the patient was clinically diagnosed, so they have no path report, or the pathology was done at an outside facility?
Yeah, so for case finding, oftentimes what we'll see, from our institutions is, we'll get all the path reports, that gets a bunch of patients, right? We'll get all the radiology, that has suspicious cancer findings, but there's always going to be cases sort of that are missed by those primary kind of data streams. So we allow the import of a hospital like cancer disease index file. So with just a single upload, any file containing like sort of the patient MRNs or other information can just be immediately imported, and then we'll check every single one of those cases to ensure that it's actually reportable. So that means that we can import anyone with an ICD-10 diagnosis. We can import any calendar, sort of any list to be able to get those potentially missing cases, and we still apply the exact same AI on top of it. And then if we can't get a path report from the medical record of that patient, we'll indicate that, right? But we are checking Epic or Cerner, the main EHR, and we're checking all of the integrated HIE type sources for that patient as well. So we have Care Everywhere and those additional data sources.
Okay. And then we have a lot of questions for you. So I'll send these over. One question was, do you have an accuracy rate? But I think we saw that in your presentation, that it does kind of tell how accurate. But do you have like an accuracy rate that you're finding, or anything else to add to that?
Yeah, it's oftentimes, I think, site specific, for different fields, and also depends on the sort of comprehensiveness of the system. But we're having accuracy rates for the majority of fields that are well north of 90%. But keeping in mind, of course, right, that accuracy is only a measurement of the predictions that you make, right? So you could just not make any predictions and have 100% accuracy. So we also try to have a really high recall, precision and recall associated with the predictions. And if anybody's interested in learning more about that, we have some studies and white papers that we can share afterwards.
Okay, perfect. I'll get the rest of these questions over to you, David. Carla, do you want to add anything else?
No, I just want to say thank you so much, David. Excellent presentation.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we will move on now to our next spotlight, which is Inspirata. So I'm going to pass the controls to you, Amanda.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Amanda McKee. I am the Customer Success Manager here at Inspirata. I'm a former biomedical research lab manager and a current ODS. So I'm super excited to talk to you all today about how to transform your cancer registry workflow through our end-to-end solution. I think you'll find our approach can be time-saving, value-delivering, and also purpose-driven. Really wanting to transform that cancer registry workflow from start to finish. We will have a few poll questions, so be ready for a quick response. So really starting from diagnosis all the way through survivorship and research, Inspirata has been partnering with Onco to deliver an end-to-end oncology informatics platform. This is designed really, again, to transform that cancer registry operations. So through automating the case finding, including that partial data extraction and the cohort creation, the solution really empowers the ODSs to work what we call top of license. That eliminates those manual repetitive tasks. Real-time activation of structured and unstructured oncology data turns the information into actionable workflows. That allows you to really drive efficiency, increase accuracy, and scalability. And Inspirata and Onco have been in the oncology space for well over 45 years combined, and we've worked with some of the leading cancer centers. So let's start with our first poll question. Is your case finding process largely manual or automated? I think your answers here is going to help us see where you are in your automation journey. It's also going to give us a good baseline for the rest of today's discussion. We'll just give a couple of seconds here in lieu of time. Carla, I don't know, are you able to close the poll?
Yes. Can you see the results now?
I do not see the results.
So we have 64% manual and 36% automated.
That's perfect, because this is why you're here to see all of the companies who are in the automation space. So this goes right in line with our talk track today. So really together, Inspirata and Onco deliver a true end-to-end cancer registry solution. It is purpose-built for oncology to maximize efficiency, accuracy, and integration. Our platform, it fits very seamlessly within your existing IT environment. We can hook up directly to your pathology system, your radiology system, even your EMRs and clinical trial management systems. So it doesn't require a heavy lift from an IT perspective. We cover the full cancer center workflow as well. So everything from case finding to abstracting, reporting, navigation, research, and clinical trial support. Now, ePath automates case finding from pathology and imaging with up to 70% efficiency gains and 99.3% accuracy. ePath Plus extends that automation to pre-abstraction it'll include the disease index and additional reporting. So that layers on about another 20% efficiency gain. Onco solutions, including OncoLog, manage the compliant data from screening through survivorship, which help bridge that gap between clinical and operational needs. So the result is higher efficiency, better quality, reduced IT demands, and staff are freed up to focus on those higher value tasks. So our next poll is, what resources are you currently utilizing for case finding? And these answers here are going to help us identify areas where automation really could have that biggest impact for you. I'm not sure where we are with those answers, but I think just a couple of seconds we can close that poll, Carla. And if you don't mind giving me those answers, that would be helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close it. And the results are 7% is pathology and radiology, 26% is pathology, radiology, and disease index, and 68% is pathology, radiology, disease index, and medical radiation oncology.
Perfect. Well, as we mentioned, we cover the pathology, the radiology. With ePath Plus, we include disease index, and on our future roadmap here by the end of summer, we're hoping to have our radiation oncology, and up next will be surgical and medical oncology as well. So at the core of our solution, we have a proprietary AI NLP engine that really powers our product suite. These are all designed specifically for oncology. It is scalable to ensure that compliant data management and ensure your team is able to handle those patient interactions, all connected in one ecosystem. So again, really allowing us to help free up your staff to deliver those efficiencies, accuracy, and have a greater impact across the entire oncology workflow. So one last poll question here, I think. On average, how long does case finding take per case for your team? This metric is really important when we start to measure the ROI from automation.
Okay, they are voting. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close it.
Perfect.
And the results are 29% says greater than 10 minutes a case, and 71% says less than 10 minutes per case.
Okay. Yeah, and depending on how many resources you're using, it can take longer. And so the drive here is really to be as efficient as possible, leveraging that automation to work, what I say, smarter, not harder. How can we already work hard enough as ODSs? So as mentioned, we have longevity in the cancer space. We previously worked with SEER and NCI, and that allowed us to perform some in-depth QC studies. Through those studies, we determined that our engine is 99.3% sensitive and 98.2% specificity. So that means your team isn't going to be wasting time or resources on reviewing those non-reportable cases. Rather, our engine is going to do the heavy lifting so that we're only identifying those reportable cases, which really creates maximum efficiency. So at this point, I'm going to take you into my demo space. This is our ePath Plus product. You'll see 3 panels here, and what's nice is that they're all very movable, so if you need additional enlargement like I do, it's nice that this is user-friendly and compatible. Our disease queue here is set up by anatomic site, and everything on the left-hand side are reportable cases that our engine has gone to work behind the scenes, screening those pathology or radiology reports, and have determined that these are reportable cases for your review. By clicking on a report or a case, I can come in here and load the documents that would be applicable for this case, whether it's pathology, disease index, or radiology. And on the right-hand side, you're going to see that we have already started our NACER data form. This will coincide with whatever version your current software is in line with. So we've got V23, we have V24, and we've also have our V25. The important thing for the ODS is that this is going to elevate you in your position to where instead of doing those manual repetitive tasks, you're now becoming that true subject matter expert where you're reviewing all of the data that's already been extracted by our engine. Our engine did the heavy lifting of inputting demographics and patient information. It's also started to identify all of the cancer information as well. So in this particular case, I can look at the primary site. And by clicking on this little document icon, it's going to highlight exactly where within the report the engine got this information. This is going to allow for a very quick review and validation. Same thing with the histology. Now, I'm a skeptical person by nature. Sometimes ODSs are hard to win over. We use a lot of different manuals to be able to code a case. I want to know that I have trust and faith in this engine, that it's pulling the right information without having to validate in all of my manuals. I can take a peek behind the scenes. And here are all of the different data elements that are being pulled in, including matching up to the rules specific for SEER. This is really nice, and it tells me the confidence interval of my engine as well. You'll notice that we go all the way back to SEER 2007. I hope you don't ever find a missed 2007 case, but should you, we've got you covered in the rules right here. I think that pretty well takes me to the end of my demo space, but I thank you for exploring our program, and we certainly invite you to learn more about how to leverage your preliminary data in other ways to help support your accreditation requirements. How can we use this data to support cancer conferences, nurse navigation, or even quality studies? Additionally, we can also showcase how our Trial Navigator program integrates with this cancer registry data to provide more additional details. We can also provide an in-depth demonstration of our seamless integration with Oncolog software as well. So just indicate your interest in learning more about our solutions. So I appreciate your time today and extend our gratitude to Registry Partners for this opportunity and hosting a very insightful webinar.
Well, thank you for that. We do have some questions, so I will just jump into those for you. I understand that Onco and Inspirata have a partnership, but how does the Inspirata work with the software other than Onco if the registry does not want to change software?
Yeah, that's a great question. We are vendor agnostic, and we have many clients that utilize the other software, such as CNEX, Metrics, CR Star, et cetera, and so forth. So once you've validated all of the data within the data form, you mark the case as reviewed, and it creates an export in that NACER format, for which allows you to import it into your cancer registry software.
Great. Are case finding tools capable of generating a daily report of newly identified cases added to suspense Can it break down the cases to identify those with a recent or pending appointment in oncology? I'm thinking of ways the patient navigators could benefit from the tools as well as the registries.
Yeah, we have some real life use cases. We partnered with a very large medical center to help them with their nurse navigation workflow. Often the hardest pain point is really identifying those newly diagnosed patients. Since we're getting the data in real time, they actually come in here and leverage the ePath Plus system. They run a report and then they disseminate those cases by disease site to their navigators. So that has significantly reduced what we call time to treatment. So the measurable time from diagnosis to the time that they're able to get into a physician's office to start their cancer journey.
Okay. How do you incorporate individual states' requirements for cases that are not reportable to the COC to be reported to the state?
Are you talking like state-specific reporting? Is that what they're referring to?
Probably, like knowing that the state, like I guess, basically if you can adjust the filters to accept certain reportability.
Absolutely. Yep. And I know that certain states do want some of those, what we would consider traditionally non-reportable cases, like the in situ cases or the SEN3s, AIM3s, VEN3s, things like that. So yes, we have custom built filters specific to accommodate those state requirements.
Okay, for Inspirata, where do you pull your pathology and radiology reports from?
That's another great question. We actually do a hookup directly into your pathology system. So as soon as the physician signs off on that report, our engine goes to work looking for those reportable terms or codes that might make that case reportable. So we're pulling it in truly in real time, and that's why it's so useful for those nurse navigation reports and workflows as well.
Okay. Sorry, a lot of questions in here.
That's great.
I mean, I think we have time for maybe one more, if you can.
Okay. Do these AI platforms help with follow-up with more than a date of last seen, but with disease status and possible change of address?
So in the NACER data field, we have a whole section for follow-up, which includes all of those required data elements, including date of last contact, vital status, the metastatic site, meta diagnosis and the specific sites that incurs, along with the last physician that was seen as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amanda, for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Great presentation. Okay, we are going to move on to our next spotlight, which is Azra AI. Brooke, I'm going to pass the controls over to you.
Wonderful. Okay, well, thank you so much for having me today. My name's Brooke Blackmore. I lead strategy and product for our company, Azra AI. I'm an oncology nurse and nurse practitioner by background and have had the wonderful privilege of working with oncology data specialists throughout my entire career and really have dedicated my time to making sure that our workflows in oncology be as efficient as possible and really work together to elevate that patient experience. And so I'm excited today to share some of the things that Azra offers specifically with helping in the cancer registry space. So one of the reasons, why Azra exists and why we built the tools that we built in the registry space is that we see these trends that are no secret to anyone on this call, where the requirements from a data perspective are more and more complex. Additional fields and requirements for data entry continue to grow, but the actual number and the volume of oncology data specialists who actually do the work do not, unfortunately. So we also know that in addition to doing your daily work of case finding and or abstraction, the oncology data specialist can often be pulled in many different directions, and some of those have been talked about by prior companies on the call already. These include things like managing the cancer conferences, for example, and really doing some detailed quality accreditation work. And so Azra has really worked together to pull a couple different tools and platforms together to be able to elevate the oncology data specialist, allow them to be as efficient as possible, and then practice at the top of their licensure. Azra as a whole is deployed in almost 500 hospitals at this point. We did spin out of a really unique relationship with a large healthcare organization in the United States, where we had access to a whole lot of data to build the models that we leverage and use in the cancer registry modules within our platform. One unique thing about Azra is the types of models that we use. And so all of our models are transformer-based mega models, which essentially means we're not searching for specific key terms. We're ingesting the entire context of the report itself and looking at the report and then scoring each individual report, which allows the oncology data specialist to feel comfortable knowing that all of their cases that are required to be reported on are captured, but they're not having to review a lot of negative reports or false positives, if you will, to achieve that end result. And so on average, we have a 98% precision rate with our models. This means that 98% of the time when you are looking at a report or a prediction in the Azra platform, you should have been looking at it as it is a reportable case. And so we measure these at each health system, facility, physician, and report level and show each individual health system their model performance. But on average, our customers are definitely spending time reviewing what they need to review, allowing them to be more elevated and not have to review those negative reports, again, finding those cases that have to be reportable. We work with all different types of registry databases and EHR, so we're fully integrated in and outbound with Epic, Cerner, Meditech, and others, as well as the oncology database platforms themselves, OncoLog, Metric, CR Star, all the different types of registry databases that are out there as well. And then, although our focus today is absolutely focused in the oncology space and the oncology registry, we see really similar opportunities to enhance other registry components that are similar in the oncology space but exist across fields like registries in cardiology. Okay. So this slide is detailed, but I'm going to walk you through it. But this shows, excuse me, how the Azra platform works today in oncology. So Azra ingests unstructured and structured, but mostly unstructured data from health systems. We look at things like schedules and orders and ADT feeds and path reports and radiology reports to then run our models on top of these to surface structured insights to different end users that use and leverage our platforms, which I'll talk about. So all the data that we ingest from the EHR runs through our models, really bucketed in two categories. And so the first category on the left-hand side, you'll see is looking for newly diagnosed cancer patients in real time. So all path reports come into our platform, whether they be scanned, referred in, or actually generated within your EHR, to then surface those that are positive cancer cases. And then we also surface them by disease site. And so these models run in real time. As soon as a provider signs off on the report, we ingest it in our platform, and you can see the results of that in the Azra tool. And then from a radiology perspective, we're also able to surface things like clinically diagnosed cases from a cancer registry perspective, but we also empower and use our models to launch and elevate any incidental finding or high-risk screening programs that are done within your hospital. And so these would be programs like low-dose CT cancer screens, incidental lung nodules. We have a neurology, oncology, radiology suite. And so from a registry perspective, they benefit from our radiology models by ensuring even those cases that are clinically diagnosed can be surfaced to the registrar to start that suspense case. The model results in our platform. I'm going to start on the right-hand side of that next line from a registry perspective. So in our platform, the registry is the registry team, the oncology data specialist, is presented a care queue where they can see the reports themselves that have been ingested into our platform, all of the model predictions, and can review those to ensure that they are correct and accurate. And then with one click of a button, we capture all of the fields necessary to create the suspense case in any registry database. In addition, we ingest further information such as the additional surgical path reports. We have, the radiology reports. We have all different types of data that we continue to ingest to then surface and automate many of the fields that you then are manually going back into for the abstraction itself. And so these are things like the stage and the grade and the tumor marker statuses. And so we have a whole library of fields that are disease specific that not only help you with the case finding piece itself, but also help automate the abstraction component of the work that you do. As you can see, all of the data that we surface and structure in the Azra platform is exported out into a NASER formatted file for import into your registry database, or we can connect to your registry database via a secure API so that you don't have to do the import and upload of that file. We also connect and we have relationships with each SEER state, and we have API set up with them. So we also submit the SEER state registry requirements as well for that cancer registrar or oncology data specialist. I'm sorry now. Moving over to the middle, just really briefly, because I love that there had been questions on, how can we get more benefit out of the tool and out of the partner that we choose to automate some of our registry work. And we see that in many areas in this industry. And so Azra also offers a separate workflow for those nurse navigators, those patient navigators, the team that runs any of the high-risk radiology clinics to see their patients that need navigation services in real time, and then provide an entire documentation suite for them to document their journey from suspicion or diagnosis really all the way through survivorship. And so much like the registry component outputs the data to the right place, we output the data to back into the health system's EHR so that this team is not double documenting, as well as capture data to support accreditations and capture the codes and time necessary should they implement the billing navigation codes that came out. But moving on to the left-hand side of this slide is tumor board, as I have the wonderful privilege of working with a lot of oncology data specialists that are also responsible for the tumor board and the cancer conference within their organization. So from a tumor board perspective, we have a module built inside our platform that has all the same cancer data. So these are the patients that are newly diagnosed. These are the types of cancer that they have. This is the stage, should we know it at that point. This is the grade, all of those areas that we're populating for the registry. We enable that team to benefit from those model predictions in the cancer conference module within the platform. So this platform allows you to see all cases that have been diagnosed. You can refer net new cases that need to be presented or have been referred in and create your agenda. You can track the discussion. And then maybe most importantly for this team is we capture the data necessary for Commission on Cancer, NAPBC, and NAPRC. So when you go into the Azra platform and you host your conferences, you have the ability to export the data that you will be sending to the COC, but also visually know and understand and see if you're on track via pie charts and graphs and more visually appealing reports to make sure that you're on track to meet the components within that standard. And then at the bottom across all of our models and modules is reporting and analytics within the platform. So each of our customers have their own data warehouse where we have a business intelligence platform built into the tool. We slice and dice data in a variety of different ways, and we have reports that come with the application as well. So some health systems want to look at very specific things like what are we diagnosing and what are our referral patterns in real time. And some organizations want to track specific COC standards within the application based on a lot of the information that is gathered, structured, and surfaced for the nurse navigators, for example. And so our analytics platform has operational, financial, and quality data built into it to not only prove and show an ROI from the platform itself, but also to drive quality and ensure that the hospital team is on track for maintaining and upholding their accreditation standards, and much more. You can see here, this is an example of a large health system. This health system, well, 17 hospitals, I'll say, and they have a mix of academic and community sites within it. And so before Azra, you can see, again, just that manual effort in that dark gray bar, the manual effort demonstrating these are the amount of reports that the team was reviewing manually to ensure that they were getting all patients required by the cancer registry. And then you can see by only servicing those positive patients for review in the pink bar, the time is drastically reduced. I found it really interesting that we had talked today about this 10-minute mark. We use the pre-registry in the dark gray box, we use 3 minutes per case finding, and then in the pink box we use 1. So there probably is some opportunity to really even potentially expand that box over time when we then pivot our report to show hours and weeks and minutes even for each of our sites. And then you can see different types, of quotes and different types of user experiences that we've been able to service and capture. When we work with health systems, we usually work with them in a variety of different ways. Sometimes we absolutely start in the cancer registry space, but oftentimes we then get the privilege of expanding our capabilities and offerings to the navigation team or the tumor board team, and even sometimes our analytics only, to really show and drive that strategic growth and get their strategic plan and those goals achieved together. So again, a blessing and a curse that Azra does a lot of things, but hopefully today you learned more about how Azra can directly benefit not only the work that you do as oncology data specialists, but also the work throughout the rest of your oncology service line.
Thank you, Brooke. I have a few questions here. First question is, there's a mention of cardiac registries. Do you know which types of cardiac registries are working with AI or Azra? I know there's lots of different types of cardiac registries.
There's lots of different ones. Most of our customers start with the TVT registry, but there are lots of different ones that can leverage and have the file exported out for the cardiology piece.
Perfect. Next question. In many cases, creating our comprehensive supporting text fields is more time consuming than assigning the codes. How does Azra assist with this portion of the abstract?
I'm so sorry, you cut out just that first piece. Was it related to the codes?
Yeah, they just want to know, they said creating comprehensive text fields is more time consuming than assigning the actual cancer registry codes. How does Azra support to assist with text documentation in the abstract?
So in the reports in the data that we structure, we can map that data and those fields, whether they be those text fields or those individual, more coded fields, back into any any field within the NACER formatted file that we distribute. So I hope I'm answering your question that you're asking. If not, please feel free to reach out. But we have the ability to take certain text from the documents themselves and then map them back in your file for that piece.
Okay, perfect. And then in testing the software, how many cases were found to be missed?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we just did a big study with one of MD Anderson affiliated sites, and we basically took the disease index, the manual review of that, and then we took the data coming out of the Azra platform, and no cases were missed, and actually more cases were surfaced. So in that scenario, in that study that we've just completed, no cases actually have been missed. And what we've seen is because oftentimes the registrars are manually reviewing these reports, and obviously, you know, the best win here is AI plus the oncology data specialist and their, you know, great knowledge in the space together equals the best data and the most comprehensive data. But what we found is that oftentimes, sometimes the registrar or the oncology data specialist may be reviewing a case that is reportable or wasn't captured just due to, you know, human error, which happens to all of us, for example. So we haven't missed any cases based on that study. Each site titrates their precision and recall numbers. So each customer that we work with, they have their own version of our model to work together to ensure that no cases are missed. And so we do that type of study with all of our existing clients.
Okay. Carla, do we have time for one more question, or are we at time?
You can take one more.
Okay. Regarding QCing of cases, were you able to test how accurate the info pulled in matched to what an ODS abstracted?
In testing, are we able to see the accuracy of what an ODS would pull in versus Azra?
I guess, like, did you compare to like what was maybe already abstracted, or were you guys just looking at completely new data? I think that's
we've done all different types of comparisons to ensure that the data coming out of Azra matches exactly what the registrar would put in. I would say one thing, and I think a lot of the organizations that have been presenting today are doing this really well, because I think AI is moving quickly and we're getting into a really good automated rhythm. Even the oncology data specialists, like, you know, landscape as a whole is more accepting of this technology than ever before. So that's been such a, you know, breath of fresh air. But in those scenarios, the end user sees the data and sees the model predictions and confirms what that would look like in their NACER formatted file, which is then imported in the registry before anything goes over.
Well, sorry about that. Hello, everybody, and thank you, Registry Partners, for inviting mTuitive to this great event. It's been very informative so far. I'm Eric Nowicki. I work on the commercial side at mTuitive, helping our new customers deploy mTuitive's structured reporting solutions. Now, mTuitive is AI adjacent. Our role is reporting in the OR or at the microscope to create highly accurate reports made up of structured data. So our solutions make interpreting that data easier for people and thus for machines. Today, I'll cover who mTuitive is and give a high-level overview of structured reporting with mTuitive. And then my colleague Emily will jump in and discuss our oncology data strategy in more detail. Next slide, please, Emma. So mTuitive is focused solely on structured reporting. Think an inch wide and a mile deep for synoptic reporting, and then outputs that include mineable data, which can drive quality, decision support, and accreditation compliance. We integrate with most popular EHR and LIS systems and are continually innovating to optimize workflows for our customers, who range from single pathologist CAP accredited labs to comprehensive cancer network with hundreds of cancer surgeons. So we were founded a little over 20 years ago as a small family business, and that ethos has remained. We consider each customer part of that mTuitive family. And as you can see, since 2018, we've maintained a 95+% client retention rate. So in short, we transform analog, unstructured workflows into structured clinical reports with highly mineable data, optimizing what's the new currency in healthcare, which is data. Next slide, please, Emily. So our reporting applications, our main markets are pathology with the CAP ECPs and surgical oncology with the synoptic operative reports tied to cancer accreditation for COC, NAPRC, NAPBC. However, we're scalable to any specialty needing precise structured data. And we do have customers that are using us for other specialties. Those tend to be where the majority of our market is. Our reporting solutions are embedded directly into the EHR or LIS workflow, launched within the context of the patient encounter from within the patient record. And also, mTuitive can typically be deployed without requiring any new system upgrades. So in most cases, we'll run with the build that you have on site. We also host a SQL database and an analytics UI, which is called mTuitive Insight, which is a central data repository for all structured data. Insight can be used to create quality metrics on its own, can also be used to collect and transfer cancer registry data, and be used for accreditation program surveillance. Next slide, please. So this is a screenshot of our surgery application being launched embedded from Cerner. The same concept works for pathology from the LIS or with any of our other partner vendors. We're validated with Epic. We partnered with Meditech since the beginning of our company, I'm pretty sure. And also any other organizations that use standard Fire APIs we can embed. So mTuitive standardized workflows across an organization to ensure accurate, consistent use of medical terminology, thus leading to strong data hygiene and minimized errors of omission. So it's built with layers of functionality and guardrails to allow our providers to expedite the creation of compliant reports, i.e. you can't sign out an mTuitive report unless it meets a regulatory or accreditation requirement. Then we work with each one of our customers to design their workflows, and then we'll proactively keep up with regulatory aspects to keep that current. And again, in healthcare, with data being our new currency, mTuitive ensures that all that data is captured in an optimized format for humans or for machines. Next slide, please. One of our standard reports here and pretty standard clinical documentation, but behind the scenes, every field is concept mapped and then appended with a unique identifier. And this feature is consistent with every mTuitive report. Again, this enables real-time access of this data for support staff, providers doing research, or AI platforms. And again, then it standardizes the data across the facility for research, quality, and accreditation surveillance. Next slide, please. And here's a quick example of what mTuitive can do with our structured data. This report here is continuously tracking operative notes that meet COC standards 5.3 through 5.6, extracting operative intent, procedure type, adherence to the evidence-based requirements for surgical technique. And then that is scalable to any other part of the clinical documentation if you're looking to analyze it. Like, for example, number of lymph nodes sampled, complications, and significance to drains and anesthesia use, or so on. Again, these data points are often buried in narrative formats, can be missing context, or created inconsistency. So what we do at mTuitive is we ensure that all these data points are captured in an optimized format to be tracked, to be extracted and aggregated. So that's really all I had. Thank you. And now I'm going to go ahead and pass the presentation on to Emily.
Thank you, Eric. Hello, everyone. I'm Emily Smith, and I'm a product manager from mTuitive. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit more about our solutions and how synoptic reporting and discrete data intersect with these AI solutions and can help with cancer registries. So mTuitive offers solutions for synoptic reporting and discrete data capture in both surgery and pathology spaces, as Eric previously mentioned, and we have our database Insight. I'm going to focus a little more on pathology. Eric focused a little bit on surgery, but as he mentioned prior, all these concepts can be extended to both of our products. And then I'm going to dive in here to talk a little bit more about structured data and synoptic reporting, and then I'll focus on how can that assist with optimizing registry reporting and data analysis workflows. Synoptic reporting is a reporting style that's consistent, standardized, and usually is entered in that question and answer format. It produces discrete data results and ensures that reports are complete and adhere to reporting standards and regulations. Why is this important? It's really important when providers, including pathologists and surgeons, are reporting consistently. Their diagnosis details can be compared to each other. This is like saying, I want to compare apples to apples, not apples to oranges. If providers all across the US are diagnosing consistently, the patient population can be reported and compared accurately. If not, we're kind of in that apples to oranges scenario. Here you can see an example of a synoptic report for a DCIS diagnosis. It shows the signature synoptic reporting question and answer format and can be easily stored discretely in a database and used and compared later. At mTuitive, our target audience for folks that are entering the data are pathologists and surgeons, but we also provide solutions for data scientists, quality managers, researchers, oncology data specialists, and lots of other folks at the institution. Reporting of the past relied heavily on transcription and dictation that generated these lengthy narrative reports. This can produce inconsistent reports, including varying styles and language choices that make it hard to standardize and compare the individual diagnosis. In addition, in order to extract that information for use cases such as a registry, the registrar needs a way to abstract that key data from the results. Traditionally, this has relied on manual intervention, which we've heard a lot of you talk about right now. And then in more recent times, you can utilize AI to do this. However, there's still some challenges in AI with different report formats and writing styles that are sometimes hard to interpret. I will go quickly over this slide, but in the interest of time, but the College of American Pathologists maintain electronic cancer checklists. And in our pathology product, these electronic cancer checklists are what we base our data entry forms on, which is designed to streamline the cancer diagnostic reporting while allowing for structured data capture. So you can see the CAP ECC on the left-hand side of the screen, and then the mTuitive application where the provider would be entering their results. In this case, it would be a pathologist in order to answer all of the required questions and in a discrete format where necessary. So reporting today now looks a lot more like the first example I showed you, which requires pathologists to fill out protocols in the form of a template or using a software solution like ours to comply with the standards. It's also greatly reduced the need to interpret, normalize, and extract data from those traditional pathology reports that can be very lengthy. It automates some of the registrar's job and allows data analysis in place of tedious data extraction of the past. This is also coming more and more to the surgery space. The ACS's Commission on Cancer, COC, is now requiring synoptic reporting for some cancer surgeries, and we expect that to expand. How can we really harness the power of your structured data? Number one, we interface directly with cancer registries for cases that qualify. We can help match patients with relevant clinical trials or curate data sets to train AI models. And we can also make it a lot easier to find cases for tumor boards or locate tissues for special studies. There's significant benefits for individual diagnosis, like precision healthcare, but we also have seen that there are significant benefits for population health, which I'll expand upon a little bit more here. First off, oncology structured data improves the usefulness of cancer registry and shared data resources because standardized discrete data put into these registries using controlled vocabularies and codes is a lot easier to interpret and use. Having structured data as an input also can assist with AI and ML efforts by increasing the pool of learning assets and information and expanding its diversity. There's less ambiguity in the data. AI doesn't have to guess meanings from natural language. For example, 3.5 centimeters and the tumor size field is always tumor size. It's never going to be incision length, and it's much easier for AI to interpret. There's also less processing for AI. Structured data eliminates the need for complex NLP pipelines to clean, normalize, and structure the data before analysis. There's a lot of other benefits. In the interest of time, I'm going to keep going. I would be happy to talk to anyone about this later. Do want to just briefly show our interface. We interface directly with cancer registries, and we pull in both reports and results from the APLIS, as well as discrete data that is put into our mTuitive solution. As you can see, an integration engine combines that data and sends directly to a cancer registry. We have a lot of use cases of that, including some of our customers that report at the state level. We also have some international provinces in Canada that are using this similar setup to send their data directly to a cancer registry. Eric touched on this, so again, I'll be very brief. We have a reporting tool and a database tool that allows you to leverage that data beyond just sending it to a registry or having it for a diagnostic purpose. You can use it for things like workflow optimization. And then in summary, what mTuitive allows is synoptic reports that are complete, correct, and compliant with that structured data as the backbone, checklists that are kept up to date with the current standards, companion tools so we can leverage AI and drive clinical workflow optimization. Didn't get a ton of time to talk about that, but we're excited about that front, and discrete data that powers impactful analysis, reporting, and registry capabilities. So thank you all, and we may be out of time. Thank you, Registry Partners, for having us.
No, thank you. We don't currently have any questions that are directed just for you, but we do have several that have been asked of all the vendors. So we'll get those distributed so that we can get responses to everyone who has curiosities about all of the AI vendors that were featured today. But thank you so much. And Carla, I'll hand it back to you.
All right. Thank you. Well, I just want to thank everyone for joining us today. And I wanted to let you know that we were super excited to have all these speakers here. A special thank you to them for joining us, taking their time out of their day to share this with us. Just a few things, like Courtney said about the questions, we'll get those out, we'll get those answered for you. Please don't forget about the survey that I mentioned. If you don't mind completing that for us, let us know how Registry Partners can partner with you or how we can help connect you to one of these solutions. And also, I'm going to just share at the very end here as you exit off the webinar. If any of you did not see the video at the very beginning, I know some were a little late logging in, I'm going to share a video about Regi Health at Registry Partners. So if you want to stick around and take a look at that, we would appreciate it. I hope you all have a wonderful afternoon. And again, thank you so much for joining us.
Are you making the most of your patient registry data? Every year, hospitals invest valuable resources into their registries. But how often do you see a meaningful return on that investment? How effectively does it support your strategic growth, patient outcomes, or marketing decisions? Introducing Regi Health, a groundbreaking new program from Registry Partners. Built on decades of experience managing patient registries, Regi Health goes beyond data collection. We offer hospitals and healthcare systems the insights and tools to transform registry data into real business intelligence. Our strategic consulting and business planning services help you gain a higher return on investment by ensuring your data drives operational efficiency, marketing effectiveness, and patient-centered care. Working with Regi Health is simple. First, we conduct a survey identifying opportunities for improvement in your registry. Next, we gather insights through deep analysis, pinpointing the key performance indicators that matter most to your organization. Then we deliver your personalized RegiHealth score, a clear guide to optimizing your registry's impact. And finally, we provide you a tailored action plan, a strategic roadmap to make every aspect of your registry data work for you. With a team of US-based data specialists, we bring human expertise together with advanced technology. The result? Registry data that fuels business intelligence and growth. Turn your registry from a compliance tool into a strategic asset that supports growth and healthcare quality. Partner with RegiHealth today to unlock the full potential of your patient registry data to ensure a healthier future for your patients and your business.